My name is Mara. I am 2 months into my journey to peel away the clutter in my house. These are my two little helpers. Looks like Cupid is sleeping on the job, but he's got old man privileges. This is Clutter Corner. It's really an extension of Clutter Mountain, which I have done before, and I will put that link into the description. I have some goals for this pile. In addition to yeeting all this clutter, there are a few things I'm looking for. I found some tarot cards in the mountain, and now I'm hoping to find the missing guidebook. This corner is also the Bermuda Triangle when it comes to camera memory cards. And I've got footage for other things and also some photos on those cards. And I know I'm going to find a few in this pile, and I really want to. Now I'm starting with this box here, and I thought it was a box of doom filled with miscellaneous items that I have to make decisions about. This is the reason I did an overhead angle using my fancy new tripod. It turned out to be a box of papers, and that makes it easy to handle. I handle it by setting the whole box aside. I will go through that box later while I watch TV. I'm going to adjust the camera angle soon. Speaking of angles, I had a difficult time filming this area, and that's one reason why I waited to do this section. I kept debating a few options for camera angles, and finally I just decided I'm just going to have to do the best I can, but I realized that this angle isn't it. Oh. In the spirit of keeping it real, I also wanted to wait for this section because I felt like I needed time to get used to having so much open space after doing the other areas. There's this pesky inner voice that wonders who I am if I'm not surrounded by stuff. Also, I have to admit, I needed to have my trash bins recover a little bit because I needed a few weeks to deal with the trash that I took out with Clutter Mountain. There is some interesting stuff in the corner, but a lot of it is just trash and more water bottles because I need more of those, of course, for my bowling alley. It's always been fairly easy for me to deal with trash and stuff that needs to be recycled, so I wasn't really expecting anything dramatic for this particular installment, but surprise! Life had other ideas, and that's just the way that things go sometimes. This channel is about my decluttering journey, and I want to be pretty open and honest about that journey. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of feelings in this one. So that is your heads up that I will be talking about depression, anxiety, probably ADD, and just mental health issues in general through this particular episode. We'll have a bit of music first, and then I'll get into it. And here we have some more CDs. My standard practice for dealing with CDs is if it's something that I feel like I can find pretty easily on Spotify, I'm going to go ahead and donate it. If it's something that I want to have in my car, which I do have a CD player in my car, then I'll keep it. If it's something that I want to keep and it's something that is maybe a little harder to find, like a soundtrack or something else, then I'll go ahead and keep that too. I'm able to go through CDs more easily than DVDs, and I'm not sure why that is, but it just is the case. I'm pretty happy because I was able to let go of a lot of these. And there goes another box too while I'm at it. And here's an old computer. This corner is where computers come to die as well. This was day one of my declutter for this corner, and day one went pretty smoothly. I was plugging along and doing my thing, and that's how I like it. I did find this fun little thing. This is a little, it's like one of those warmers that you can put in the microwave and use it as like a heating pad. Bought that several years ago on Etsy. Here is a book that's going to go in my little library. Did find a bunch of medication bottles, some empty and some had pills in them, so I just set them all aside in a basket and I'm going to go through them later. If the medicine has expired or I no longer take it, then I want to make sure and set it aside to dispose of at the pharmacy appropriately. And here we go, more bottles. Oh dear, this poor corner is where a lot of things came to get lost, I guess. Looking at it now, it's kind of amazing how much I had wedged underneath there. And there is something under there that is going to surprise many of you. I think it will anyway. We'll see. As you can see, this angle is starting to get a bit awkward. I wanted to have you guys be able to see what I was doing, but it was not great to kind of lean sideways like that to bring stuff out. I did it for a while and then I am going to try shifting my camera a bit. Now, let me talk about my new tripod, which is pretty cool. It has these 4 levels and you can extend it so that it's quite tall. It's like it can be like 55 inches tall or something like that. And then it has this other part that you can bend over so it can bend as well. And I do try a few different heights throughout the video. So you'll have to tell me what you think. Oh dear, but yeah, corners are awkward. They're very awkward. I had a lot of paper. I ended up filling a box full. Oh my goodness, more water bottles. So many water bottles. I have to laugh about how absurd it is because otherwise, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd cry. Speaking of emotions, I'm going to talk about my anxiety a little bit. It's something that I have always struggled with. And I've struggled with it throughout my declutter. And one way that I deal with it is by focusing on these small portions of my house. Like, I just absolutely could not look at an entire room and think, okay, here's what I'm going to do here, because I would just get too anxious and be overwhelmed and become frozen. I'm new in my use of decluttering muscles. This is not something that I have a lot of experience with over the years. It's something that I have kind of tried to avoid. I'm no longer avoiding it though, and that means that these muscles are getting used, and they are being used over and over and over again. The successes that I've had so far have boosted my courage and my motivation to keep going, even in moments when I am less comfortable. Or let's just go ahead and say it, when I am uncomfortable, when I am anxious. Before this, when the anxiety would come, I would be able to walk away for a few minutes and come back and just be refreshed and dive right in. If I know the source of the anxiety, sometimes I'm able to kind of talk it through with myself. Like, I'll say, okay, here are some VHS tapes that I would like to let go, or that I think should go because I don't have a way to play them. And why am I feeling anxious about letting them go? And so I'll talk that through and I'll think, well, I'm anxious because I really like this particular program and I recorded it onto my VHS and I don't know if I can get it again. And so I'll say, well, set it aside here in this pile, and then in this pile later you can, after I'm done for the day or for the session, I can look it up and see if it's available somewhere online. And if it is, then, problem solved. Anxiety can go away, it dissipates naturally, and I can just move on and keep going. There's also another anxiety, and I can see this looking back. It's fairly clear to me now, but at the time it absolutely wasn't. And it's the anxiety of 2 months of making decision after decision after decision of what am I going to keep and what am I going to let go, and what about the emotional attachments that I have to this stuff. Some things are very easy for me to let go of, and some things require a little bit more effort or consideration or talking through. I don't regret making any of these decisions. I don't regret starting this channel. I don't regret decluttering things. I don't regret getting stuff out the door and out of my life. I don't regret any of that, but the stuff has never been just stuff to me. Even the trash. And it sounds crazy to say that, but even the trash has been part of the piles and part of my life for years. I've gotten some comments saying, why don't you just throw out the trash? Or why haven't you thrown out the trash? I'm not offended by this question because it seems like an obvious question. Why don't you just throw away the trash? I wish there were a simple answer to this, but there isn't. I'll try to explain it, but I don't know how good of a job I'll do. But I'll do my best. The trash is only part of the piles, and the piles have been how I've dealt with my lifelong anxiety and depression. Stress comes for us all, right? But when I felt anxious because of troubles at work, I would add to my piles. When my dad's health declined, I would add to the pile. When I would feel lonely and sad, I would buy things and add to the pile. And over time, those piles would become barricades of safety when I felt like I had nothing else. Even if that wasn't true, and of course that really wasn't true. But even when I felt so desperately alone, the stuff was there. Even when some of that stuff was simply rubbish that belonged in the bin. Well, let me pause for just a moment to introduce you to one of the greatest joys of my life, scrapbooking. I've been scrapbooking for more than 20 years, and I have a room devoted to it. Here you can see a page that I created about my little poodle Clay. Scrapbooking is a pleasure and it's a real stress reliever in my life. It's my creative outlet. Unfortunately, I have not been scrapbooking at all this year because of the state of my scrapbook room right now. That's one reason why I decided to embark on this decluttering journey. Now I'm coming across a little treat that I got. This is a little 6x6 canvas painting of my dog Cupid. I got that from the website chewy.com. I order some of their dog treats through that site, and one day this lovely little painting showed up at my doorstep. It was really cute. Apparently they took the little profile picture that I had uploaded and turned it into a canvas painting, which I thought was just amazing and such a lovely thing to do. Next, I'm going to find some photos of my guys, my little cuties. But let's get back to what I was talking about. If I can remember what I was talking about. I was saying that my stuff isn't just stuff, it's a sense of safety. So when I'm decluttering, I'm not only dealing with the fact that I am removing the sense of safety, I'm going against a coping mechanism that I've been using for decades. I've also got brain wiring that when I sit down and try to organize, my brain kind of implodes. Like, I don't know what to do. I really envy people who are good at organization and good at coming up with organizational solutions, but for me, it's always been a struggle, and it's just almost painful, really, to try and figure out what to do. So that's been my struggle in the past. Now here I've found some more scrapbook pages, and here's one I'm going to show you. I just think it's so cute. I got these really cute gourmet cookies for my dogs, and then I took pictures of them as they like bit down on them, and the pictures are so funny. Here's a Target gift card. Woo! I found so much stuff here. I mentioned that there's something that will surprise you. We haven't gotten to that yet, but I definitely found some things that surprised me. There's always a point when I clean where I look and I realize I have opened up a lot of stuff. And that's a fun point to get to. That's kind of where we are here. Like, that pile on the side is really opening up. I pulled a lot of trash out of this corner. I'm looking forward to you seeing how much trash was over here. So many bags. But anyway, yay! I found that guidebook that I was looking for. I knew it had to be in this pile. There was no other pile left for it to be in. So I was glad about that. It had I don't know what it was, something on it. So I just washed it off a little bit. And we're good to go. You can't see it very well, but there is a very narrow end table next to that love seat, and I'm kind of pulling stuff out from the bottom of that. And I'm still finding more medication and medication boxes, things like that. I found like three or four different types of hair detanglers. It's like watching a history of the different hair detanglers that I tried. Remote to the DVD player. Yes, I have not had that remote. I knew it was over in that corner, but I couldn't like reach it because of all the other stuff in front of it. So I'm finally able to watch the DVDs that I have uncovered and organized a few weeks ago. Now here's the thing that surprised even me. Okay, I didn't know I owned this deck, and I laughed so hard when I got it. A few months back, I was going through like all of my internet bookmarks, and I was just seeing if I still needed them or if I could delete them. And I came to this particular deck, and the link was on Amazon, and it said, "You purchased this deck," and it gave the date. And I was like, I don't have this deck. Like, I know all of the decks I have, and I don't have this deck. Well, turns out, and I just kind of was like, this is a fluke. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And I just was like, whatever. So, but no, I had this deck the whole time. Oh, that made me laugh a lot. It was very obvious that I hadn't used it. There might have been plastic wrap around it when I got it. That wasn't there. But when I opened up the box, the guidebook was there, and then there was this paper wrapping around the cards. I tear that off when I use it, so I had not used this before. Alright, so we're getting on to the end of day 2 of this cleaning. Coming across some of my favorite pens. I love them because they are erasable. I'll put a link to them in the description below. They're really cool. It'll be an affiliate link. I think we're coming to the end of this day, and so I need to talk about what happened at the end of day 2. I had finished cleaning and was really minding my own business, and I thought, oh, where's my remote for the Roku? And so I thought, oh, it's got to be back over on that love seat. So I sat back in this blue chair, my favorite blue chair for organizing, and I started hyperventilating. It was really weird, and I didn't know why, and I was just very confused. So I moved out of that space. I was like, okay, maybe I was feeling claustrophobic, and I don't really feel like I am claustrophobic in general. So, but I thought, maybe something happened there because I'm definitely surrounded by, bins and bags of stuff. That's just how I work when I declutter. I couldn't figure out why I had kind of panicked like that. So I just thought, that was a one off. It's fine. Maybe I felt closed in, or maybe it's just my body saying, you're done for today. And I really just chalked it off as, oh, it's just a one off experience. And look, yay, here I am finding some of those memory cards. I found a lot at this point when I was going through these piles that were at the very, very bottom on the floor. I basically noted the fact that I had had a panic attack, and I took some time, to get out of it. Like, I didn't immediately start thinking, well, what could be going on, or whatever. But I just thought, all right, it's fine. We'll just move on. Well, I ended up having several panic attacks this day as I was cleaning. It got pretty hot in this corner. Just the time of day that I was working on it, the sun was angled, so it was like shining right in. And I'm sure that didn't really help. But I'm panicking, and a part of me is thinking, because I cope by finding humor in things, and I was thinking, could I not have a panic attack over something that's like $500 purses instead of water bottles and styrofoam cups? Well, I don't have $500 purses, and I wasn't actually having a panic attack over the styrofoam cups. Now, I didn't realize this at the time. This is after thinking about it and having a little bit of distance. But this area in this particular room is basically the last kind of junky area, and it basically represents the last of the piles. And those piles, as I mentioned earlier, have been my coping mechanism, have been my sense of security and safety. And here I am dismantling my my sense of security because I am dismantling the piles, and I'm doing it willingly. I'm doing it because I want to have that space. But there's this part of me that's like, what are you doing? There's that part of me that's like, you are removing our safety. So that's one element of the panic. There's another element, I think, and that is just that I have been spending weeks, like 8 weeks now, and I've been making decision after decision after decision, and I'm using those muscles that haven't really been used. And there's not a lot of decision making here when I am doing trash. It's just a matter of, okay, this needs to go in. Does this go in trash? Does this go in recycling? Okay. I considered for a while whether I should include this, but I left it in. This is one of the panic attacks that I had, and I want to share it. I want to share it because I know that there are people out there who try to clean, who try to declutter, and who get overwhelmed, and maybe they have panic attacks, and I want them to know that they are not alone. Okay, there's the thing that maybe came as a surprise to you. There was a trash can over there in that corner, and it just quickly got too overrun, I've decided it's not going to go in that corner. It's just not a good place to have it. So I'm pulling it out. I haven't decided where to put it yet. I've tried a couple of spaces, but it's just so big that it's like, look at me, I'm a trash can, and I don't want it to be like a big feature. So I'm going to figure something out. But back to back to why I showed that. I just want other people to know that if they panic when they try to declutter, they're not alone. You're not alone. And sometimes it'll happen. And in those moments, what I really should have done, I should have walked away. I should have walked away and just taken some time and thought about it. But I was like, I'm so close to clearing out this particular corner that I pushed through. I think I interrupted myself talking about how I was using my decluttering muscles over and over and over, and I feel like I just pushed a little bit too far. Like the anxiety built and built and built as I used those muscles, and then it just eventually kind of tipped me over into this state of panic where I had to just, okay, let's just focus on my breathing. Let's just focus on the breathing. And if you're not someone who has anxiety, you can think of it as similar to you have a bad week. Something goes wrong at work and you're just super frustrated with that. So you have to deal with that. You get a flat tire a day or two later. You have to deal with that. One of your kids has an issue at school, and so you have to deal with that. And so just little things kind of happen, they build up, and then at the end of the week, you go to the fridge and there's no milk, and you're like, ah, where's the milk? And you kind of just get really angry. Or, oh, here's what I call my indoor garden. I have these little, I don't know what it is, but it comes in through that particular corner. And yeah, in the spring it grows and then it dries, and yeah, I will clear that up, fear not. But anyway, there's no milk. And so you think, why am I so upset over milk? And you're not. You're not upset about the milk. Like it's a mild irritation, but it's just something that's built up over a week of all of these, bad things happening or just issues happening that you've had to deal with. It's not necessarily bad, but just issues that have happened that you have to deal with. That's kind of what anxiety can be like, is things happen that you have to deal with, and sometimes you just get to a point where it's too much and it just tips you over into that panic. There's one other thing that I feel like it contributed to the panic attack, and again, this is coming from a perspective of I'm not in the middle of it, I've had time to think about it. My little Clay, he sure loved that corner. He would pop in and out of there. He's gonna love having this open. Okay, so the other thing that contributed is I kept thinking as I was cleaning up this area, how am I going to keep this area clean? How am I going to keep this clean for like years? How am I going to, in 2 years from now, this is just going to be a big old mess again? And I finally realized I'm not going to keep this area clean for 2 years. I am going to keep it clean today. That's it. I'm going to keep it clean today. Tomorrow, I'll wake up and I'll say to myself, I'm going to keep this area clean today. Not going to worry about 2 years. I'm not going to worry about even tomorrow. I'm just going to worry about today. And that is helping me diminish the anxiety. We've talked about a lot of heavy stuff here. Feel free to ask questions in the comments if you want. I hope it helps. I hope that talking about my experience has helped. And your experience is going to be different. It might well be different because we're just all different people. Okay, let's talk about some of this clutter. There were a lot of cords in this clutter. I am going to be wrestling with cords in a bit. There's another detangler. Several computers have died in this corner. So I would apparently take the computer and move it, take the laptop, but the cord would stay plugged when I actually got to the plug. I must have had like 3 or 4 things plugged in that were not even connected to anything. It was wild. Okay, here's something that I need to mention. I do not always go through the dustbin before I dump it, but I was looking for those memory cards. It's worth it to me to look through the dust and dirt. And I did find a couple of memory cards that I had swept up. So I'm glad I did it. It's a little embarrassing to look at me rummaging through trash, but that's just what I did, and there was a purpose to it. But honestly, I suspect that a lot of us who are chronically disorganized get into the habit of at least looking in the dustbin to see what is in there, making sure that nothing that isn't in there, nothing is in there that shouldn't be in there. That's what I mean. So you can see I am trying to deal with some of these cords, and I'm also finding more water bottles under the couch. I'm pretty sure there are even more under there, and probably more memory cards under there. That's my little Cupid. You don't get to see him much. He perks up around mealtime. That's when he gets his energy going, is when the food comes out. So when I'm decluttering, he's like, I don't even care. Oh, love that little guy. And yeah, I'm trying to deal with the cords and figure out what all these cords go to. I couldn't even believe it when I got to this and was like, these cords have just been languishing down here at my feet. And so many of them just didn't go to anything. I'm guessing they are from laptops that have died and I've put where I put them. Oh, that's something interesting to bring up. So, a lot of times, I think, at least for me, we'll just say for me, I have found that even though someone would walk in and be like, this place is a disaster, there is no organization here, but I will have pockets of organization. Like, there are places where I have more organization. I have a place where I have a shelf where I put these laptops that I just need to retrieve all of the data on them and then get them recycled. In my scrap room, there are certain shelves or certain cubbies that are very organized, and So I call these pockets of organization. They're my little organized pockets. I would love to hear if other people who have organization issues feel like this is common with them as well. Super curious, so let me know in the comments. And you have made it through 40 minutes of my rambling. So, bless you. Thank you. I'm grateful to have you here. And I'm so grateful for my subscribers and all of you. You leave such beautiful comments, and I really love this community that somehow I have been blessed with. I love you all. I really do. We are 6,100 strong. I've mentioned this in other videos, but just the number of subscribers has been beyond what I ever dreamed I could have. So thank you. Let's have one more music break and then we'll wrap this up.
Never really know what's going on. Look at me sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Losing almost all my energy. It's getting hard to talk to you, and I'm the only one who speaks. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Here we go, turning all the wrongs into rights. Here we go, you can take me there tonight. Whoa, this life is all we know. Whoa, I can't stay if you can't let it go. I never really know what's going on. And even when you're next to me, I feel like you were gone. It's all the things you never show. There are the things I want to know. Secrets start in your heart so slow. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know.
I did a crazy amount of sweeping and mopping in this episode. I don't know why, but this corner just was extremely dusty. I guess just cleaning up the last of it, I don't know. And there were some pretty stubborn spots. This area would get a fair amount of traffic, at least the areas that I mean the areas that weren't piled up. But this is just right in front of my main couch, and this is where the boys and I spend a lot of our time. I do not have full-time employment. I've started my own business. I'm a writer and editor, and I do some freelance writing as well. But I do this part-time as I continue to kind of build up my stamina and such from my trip to the hospital last year. I just am not quite up to full-time employment right now. I do my cleaning and my decluttering in short segments over multiple days. So that's how I get it done, and really that's kind of the way that keeps me sane doing it. I don't think I'd be able to do it for like multi-hour long sessions. It would be too difficult, too stressful, too anxiety producing. And I'm really sorry this part of the video is a little bit blurry. I think I tricked my camera with all of my, when I was getting close to it and moving away, it got all confused. But yeah, I'm just trying to wrap up this last little section here that is that end table. Cleaning stuff off, moving them into the various piles, because those green bins are the bins that I use to take things to the rooms where they actually belong. They certainly don't all belong here. Now I'm moving the love seat back into place, and let's look at the results. Here we go. This is the before of Clutter Corner. You can see my little tripod. That's my new tripod. And here is after. I went ahead and put that desk right here just so I could have my camera in place. That's my microphone. Please note the blue strips of the tape. That marks where the clutter was before, so you can kind of get a sense of where, how high and how far the clutter extended. And I've got a couple of blue bins, or blue bags. One has all of my cords. I'm still gonna have to unwind them and such. And the other has stuff that I am donating. And then I've got 3 bins that I need to take to other rooms. And here we have the trash. Woo! There's also a box full of paper that I need to go through and get shredded. But lots of trash. And then here is my inspector, who is checking out to make sure that this is all recycling. And it is. Lots of stuff that needs to be recycled, and that will get done as well. Here's a slightly wider view of this area. This is where the mountain, Clutter Mountain and Clutter Corner used to be here, and is no more. So I'm going to do something a little bit lighter next time. As you can imagine, I'm going to go with this bookcase. If I do more, great, but we'll start here. See you next time.